All right, welcome back everybody. This is the spring semester for MIS304. And so I'm going to do a quick introductory video about the course just to kind of whet your appetite. Our first session will be a live session. We have 4 live sessions in the course. Okay, those are outlined in career courses as well as in the syllabus. Okay. When I go through the syllabus in a moment here, you'll learn more about what that means. But I will have on the first live session, I'll spend a few minutes going through an introduction to the course as well to help get you up to speed. All right, so let's start off by talking about the syllabus and some of the expectations of this course. So first of all, there are 4 live sessions, and then the remainder of the content is going to be asynchronous. We also have something called Microsoft Teams provided by Cal State San Marcos, and we'll use that for collaboration and answering any questions. You need help from a peer or myself, you can post there. Okay, so that'll give us a sense of what we're missing from being outside of the classroom. The live meetings are going to be using Zoom, and I will post the link in career courses shortly. So let me go ahead and switch my input here. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the career courses and show you a couple things. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now, and so I'm going to show a couple things and move this pretty quickly so we don't make this a long video. All right, the first thing you see here is there are only 4 sections. I want to make it as simple as possible to find things, so we've gone back to the old style of posting things, right? Your first tab is Introduction. I'll post announcements for the broad class, very important things to read, the link to the syllabus, and then set up instructions for both Microsoft Teams and then Google Cloud Platform, okay? Very important, don't share those instructions with anybody else. The Microsoft Teams one will mean you share it, someone else can have access to our classroom information. We don't want that. And then the other thing is coupon codes and whatnot for Google Cloud. We don't want to share that either. So that is private to our class. If you give them out, you impact the ability of the class to get their work done, okay? So please don't share it. People can go get their own codes through other mechanisms if they want them. The second tab is Assignments. This is where you're going to find your assignment instructions as well as all of your submission boxes for assignments in this class, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, you'll see some of them are in here, some of them are not. Okay, I will add those over the course of the course. Then we've got the lecture videos, and so anything that's pre-recorded I'll post here on a week-by-week basis. You'll see that you can get started if you wish, and there's a few of the videos are already out there for you. Okay, and then the live lectures and in-class activities, that's what this tab is for, and this is where I'll have the links to the Zoom links, any recordings for the live lectures, and then as we do things in class each week, I will have activity for you. Okay. All right, so that's it for career courses. Let me go ahead and switch gears and show you the syllabus. All right, syllabus. Okay, so my contact information's in here. The Microsoft Teams room is in career courses, so you can join that. As I said, there are 4 mandatory live meetings, and those are in the schedule below. You'll also find them in my COSU SM. Okay. Office hours are going to be by appointment, and I'm also going to have a monthly happy hour on Friday afternoons at 4 p.m. Okay. And that will be open to all of my classes. So it'll be an opportunity if you want to socialize, you want to ask me questions, you want to talk about careers, that's the time for that sort of thing. Okay. All that I ask is you keep it appropriate. All right. As far as this course goes, we are doing something new this this semester. I say new, that it's something new to the college, and it's called immersive learning. If you've had me before, I may have mentioned that I taught this course in a somewhat immersive format for a number of years now. But this one is going to be the first time that we teach it in a fully immersive format. So we will cover theories and history and things like that about these technologies, but the bulk of this course is going to be requiring that you actually apply what you learn to simulated business problems. Okay. This course, if you're planning to go into the MIS program, this course is absolutely critical for you as a foundation and will help you when you go to take my upper division electives later on in your college career. Okay? So it's very important to pay attention, understand things. If you don't understand things, it's important for you to speak up early. Okay? If you're not an MIS major, that's totally fine. You're going to learn enough about systems that are relevant to whatever your major happens to be. So, from a general content perspective, this course and 302 are very similar. Okay. All right. So let's move on to some things. The textbook. It's the exact same. Whoa. Oops. I'm just realized I've got the wrong syllabus open. I have two open on my screen here. This is the correct one for this class. So far everything's correct, but the class textbook for this class is MIS 9th edition, so you have an idea of what it looks like. I'm just not seeing it for some reason. Oh, it's going to look like one of these two. Okay. This one or this one. They're very similar. Right? But the 9th edition is what we use. And I don't require I don't require that you buy any codes or labs or online access. I don't use it. It would be a waste of your money. So you can buy it from the bookstore. You can buy it through your own whatever searches, or I've linked to an ISBN search engine where you can find it through a variety of sources. Okay, paper, ebook, doesn't really matter. Okay. Now, with respect to the book is necessary to understand the concepts. Okay. I suppose you could get creative with respect to the book and what you want to do there, but this class, it is necessary to understand the general concepts to have the book. Okay. All right, the mandatory live sessions, those are absolutely required, and you need to attend all 4 of those. Okay, I will take attendance. I will also check for participation. Now, if I don't call on you, you got lucky for that session. Okay, if I didn't call on you and you were there, then I will mark you in attendance. If, however, I call on you, you attended, and I call on you and you are not prepared for class, then you will not get participation credit. Okay, and those points can't be made up. But what I will allow you to do is do extra credit. And those of you who have had me before know that I generally offer a lot of extra credit. All right. In fact, there's already some extra credit assignments, I believe, posted. I won't be taking attendance except during the live sessions. Okay. All right. This class, here's my policy on computers and mobile devices. You know, you're all adults, so you're going to be using them for this class, but you should be focused on our class activities. If you check Facebook or something, or whatever the platform of the day is, I don't care, and means nothing to me. Okay? But just be aware that if you miss material, you might fall behind and be confused. Okay? The other thing is you are not allowed to make audio or video recordings unless you have my consent. Okay? And you cannot post any of my materials on any internet site. Okay? That's a violation of copyright law, and I take that very seriously. Okay? Graded components for this class. There are only a few things. So the grade is mostly based on immersive activities, including a project. As such, some of you will be very happy to know, others may not so much, but some of you will be happy to know that there are no traditional quizzes or exams. I don't want you to focus on just memorizing facts and information. Okay? That is not going to serve you well. What you should focus on, though, is learning how to utilize resources, apply your analytical thinking and experimentation skills to solve real problems. Okay? This is the first of many courses that would be like that. So, very critical for you. If you don't do it in this class, then you're going to be struggling even more in future classes where that's required. Not to mention the workforce. You need to have that skill for the workforce. But most importantly, you should have fun in this class. That's why I love this class so much. It is so much fun for us. Would it be more fun if we were in the classroom and could do some of the cool activities? Duh. But we don't have that luxury right now. Okay? Hopefully soon, but not for this class. So your points are 16% for attendance and participation at 4 sessions. So that's 40 points or 4% of your grade per class. If you miss a class, one of those live sessions, that's 4% of your grade right there. Okay, so you don't want to miss those live sessions. You should have checked the schedule before you book this class. Okay? If you do miss a session, then you can do extra credit to try to make up those points. Okay? The course tool setup, by the end of week 3, you have to have that completed. That's the only assignment that has a really strict deadline. Okay, that's 5% of your grade. It's a very simple thing to do, by the way. Okay, 2 small steps and you're done. You get 5% of your grade. Boom, easy peasy points. Okay. The next thing is homework. That's 20% of your grade. There will be 5 homework assignments, each worth 40 points. Okay. And I'm going to talk about homework in a second in a bit more detail. Your project's worth 59% of your grade, or 590 points. That's the bulk of the grade for this class. The project is extremely important. I will be sharing details about the project once we finish the add drop period. I want to make sure that anybody who just doesn't want to take the class and anybody who wants to take the class and isn't here yet has an opportunity to do so. Okay? And then I will share the details of the project, which will be a lot of fun and is a resume booster for you. Okay? Attendance and participation, I talked about that. If you're disruptive or you have a low level of participation, then you might find yourself with fewer than the maximum points. Okay. The course tool setup. Follow the instructions in Google Courses. That should be pretty straightforward. If you need help, then you should reach out in Microsoft Teams. And then the homework assignments. So because of COVID, and I might do this in the future after COVID as well, but because of COVID, I know crap happens, okay? So I'm understanding of that, and I found that it just ends up being a nightmare to have things have a due date and then a late policy. It's just a nightmare. So my late policy is that you have almost the entire semester to complete things and submit them. Now, you should be submitting them along the way, but if things get in the way and you can't, that's okay. Okay. Now, the way I grade homework, and this only applies to homework, is I grade on a pass-fail basis. Okay. So what I want you to do with the homework is I want you to practice key skills. Okay. I don't care if you're successful or not. So I don't care if you come to the right answer or not. And in this class, there's not necessarily a right answer for a lot of things. Okay? What I want you to do is learn how to utilize the resources that are available, outside searches on the internet, experimentation, and apply your analytical thinking to complex problems. In this field and in technology, failure is as important, if not more important, than success. Okay? If you never fail, you never get to exercise those skills. Those skills are absolutely critical. Okay? So if you do have a failure, then I expect you're going to document what you failed at and walk me through the thought processes you went through to try to work around the failure. Okay? So, just to reiterate, for if there's any thing that's not clear about that, homework assignments are pass-fail. Correctness is not the objective. If you learn from the experience, even if you fail, that is perfectly fine. Okay? Now, how do you get a passing grade on it? Well, let me start with how do you get a failing grade? Okay. If you don't do the assignment, or you only do it partially, or you don't document failures, that sort of thing, you get no credit. Okay. If you do the activity that's required and a report if it's applicable, okay, and I'll make a note in the syllabus that if it's applicable, you must do the activity and the report to receive credit. Okay. So there's usually an activity that you have to do, and then a report that you write up that's about 300 words. Okay. And you're just basically documenting your experience, your failures, successes, that sort of thing. Okay. There's no partial credit. It's a pass-fail assignment. So you're either going to get all the points or you're going to get none of the points. Okay. No exceptions to that. Okay. If you only do the activity but forget to do the report, or you only do the report but don't show the activity, you get a 0. Okay. If your dog or cat or hamster or python or kid or whatever eats your report, then just rewrite it. Okay. You have plenty of time to turn this stuff in, so if you need to, you can rewrite it. All right. The report needs to be 300 words. Okay. So make sure it meets at least 300 words. I'm using this as part of the COBRA writing requirements, so it's absolutely critical that you follow the minimum word count. Okay, if you do 299 words, and I notice it, I don't always notice it, but if I notice it, then you get a 0. So because you didn't follow directions, so just make sure you do that. Okay, I don't want to be a jerk, but I also want to make sure that you do the things that we need to do. You don't need to use any specific formatting guidelines. Okay. The only thing that I absolutely require is that you use a PDF file. Okay. Cougar Courses is not going to allow you to submit anything but a PDF file now. Okay, for any assignment in this class. So it needs to be a PDF file. And if you don't know how to do this, I've linked some documents that can help you. Okay. But Google Docs, Microsoft Word, OpenOffice, Apple Pages, none of those will work. Okay, has to be a PDF file. You ask me why. I have had a lot of problems with infected files from students, and I've chosen to start grading in a really isolated, secure environment, and it can only open PDF files. Okay. That minimizes my cybersecurity risk of having a lot of different people sending me files. Okay. Now, the project, moving on to that, there's going to be a huge project in this course. Now, huge is probably an overstatement, but it's the bulk of your grade. Okay? You're going to do that in a group. Now, you do not need to meet in person. You may not even need to meet synchronously. Okay? Most likely, the bulk of the work can be done, or all the work can be done using tools like Google Docs, Microsoft Teams, that sort of thing. I want to help you to be a functioning person in today's reality of asynchronous work, which is quickly becoming the new norm. Okay, so I will show you how to use the tools, and then I will be putting together the project groups in a couple of weeks once we get past the add drop period. The one thing I'll say about the project, though, is right now I'm planning to do groups that I assign. Okay. Here's where I will make this sort of a democratic process. Okay. Anybody is welcome to petition me on Microsoft Teams and write an argument for why you should be able to pick your own groups. Okay. I'm not saying that you'll be able to, but if there's enough compelling arguments for picking your own groups, I would be receptive to potentially doing that. Okay. No guarantees, but potentially receptive to it. Okay. But barring that, I'm planning to do the automated groups that Cougar Courses assigns. Okay. Now, the grading scale, it's very, as long as you do the work, there's a strong possibility that you can achieve an A. Right? If you don't do the work and you don't focus, then it's harder to reach that A level. Okay. But I'm committed to help you. Okay. Usually if people get a bad grade in my class, it's because they procrastinated, they didn't do the homework to prepare for the project, and they didn't do the project, or they struggled on that, etc. Okay? If you do the homework, you come to class, you watch the recorded lectures, you should do very well in the class. Okay? I use the standard grading scale, which is in the syllabus. To calculate your grade, I'm doing things out of 1,000 points. And the reason I do that is so I can give you extra credit. If I have 100 points, it's harder for me to give you extra credit. You know, if you got an extra credit worth 0.1 points, nobody's going to do it. Okay, so I put 1,000 points. That gives me the ability to actually make a extra credit worth some points, so people actually are willing to do it, and it gives you lots of opportunities to do well. 1,000 points is 100%. You just divide that score by 10, and that comes up with your percentage grade. Okay, 900 points is 90%, etc. All right. Late policy. I already talked about my due dates, so nothing is due until towards the end. But I don't think you should procrastinate. If you have medical issues like COVID, all you need to do is, if you're not going to make it by the end of the course, you're running behind, you just need to let me know you need an incomplete. Okay, there's a contract that you need to complete. Okay, if you don't complete the contract, then you don't get the incomplete. Okay, it'll default to an F, I believe. So just because I send you the contract doesn't mean you have an incomplete. You actually have to finish filling it out. Right. You also need to download any copies of the missing assignments before the end of the course, because I can't guarantee that you'll be able to access them in the future. Okay. The other thing I wanted to call out is makeups and resubmissions. So there's the medical exception for makeups, and that is basically if you can't meet the last date of the class deadline, then you just request an incomplete, and then you have a year to do the work. Okay. Resubmissions. I don't allow you to resubmit, so do it right the first time. Okay. I also won't let you have me review your assignments ahead of time. It's unfair because I can't possibly get to everybody. So if I were to review one student, then it's unfair to those who I didn't review. Okay. So my policy is you can't ask me to take a look ahead of time. Now there are some exceptions to that where I will ask for student solicitations of their assignments that I can then go over in class with everybody. Okay, that's an exception to that. That's where I'm actually offering it up. The extra credit policy, I'm rumored. Okay, if you have friends and whatnot, you know this is true. I have a rumored reputation for providing a lot of extra credit opportunities in my class. It's not an entitlement though. I generally do it, and I generally try to find things that are enjoyable and that will help you to get jobs. Because at the end of the day, you're going to college, and I would presume that almost everybody, if not everybody, is going to college so you can get a better job. Okay. So if there are extra credit, I will announce those in career courses. Collaboration, I want you to collaborate. This is the type of class where I want you to form virtual peer tutoring groups and help each other out. Okay. So that's why I have Microsoft Teams available. But that being said, with the exception of the project, which is a group assignment, all of your other submissions need to be done individually and submitted individually. Okay? If you cheat and just submit someone else's, not only will you get the penalties of academic dishonesty, but you also miss out on getting that practice for the things that we're going to do on the project. The project is not pass-fail, by the way, so it's in your best interest. All right. Don't wait to get set up to Microsoft Teams. Last semester, I had students waiting until the week before class ended to try to set that up. Okay. Don't wait. It's such a simple thing to do. If you have any issues getting into Microsoft Teams in general, just contact the student help desk. They'll help you out. Okay. Questions. Let's see here. If you have a general question, just ask in Microsoft Teams. I have channels for that purpose. And then if it's a confidential matter such as your grade or something like that, medical matter, whatever, just send me an email. Just say it's confidential in the subject line and the class. Please put the class because, I used to have these psychic powers, but I don't anymore. So if you ask me a question, I may not know what class you're talking about, okay? So please just put the class in there. That helps me out. I just need to know 304, 302, 418, whatever class it is. So this class is 304. I don't need the section number, or the course ID number, or any of that stuff. I don't use that. All right. This class doesn't have a whole lot of technical competency required. This is the first class in the program. So the basic things, you should have been using Cougar courses. If you can't get things to work on your personal computer, you should be able to use the Cougar Apps platform that IT has. You should be able to use your web browser and open things in a web browser. If you have instructions, you should be able to follow basic instructions. You should be able to do experimentation, okay, be willing to try new things, exercise critical thinking skills, and make independent judgments. And then you should also be able to have things like general communication skills and things like that. Okay? There's information on tech support, the academic honesty, and accommodations. If you have an accommodation for DSS, then you need to email me privately about that. Don't post it in Teams. Don't talk about it on the live sessions. Again, the first live session is going to be the first week of class. Okay? All right, so let's talk about the tentative class schedule, which could change. Okay? I've color-coded gray shaded weeks are a mandatory live session. Our live sessions are from 11:30 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. Okay? And that's Pacific time on Mondays. The first session is going to be all about this course. I'm going to do an introduction. I'm going to kind of walk through some of the basics that you'll need to set up, like your Google Cloud stuff. That's also going to be part of your homework assignment, by the way, but you need to do that, the prerequisite work ahead of time. Okay? The second week, we talk about operating systems, hardware, and command line interfaces. Okay? You have to have your Google Cloud set up by that week so that it would be ideal if you can follow along with the videos and work on things starting that week. Okay, that's where we're going to have some very important homework to start working on. Okay. Then we're going to move into the legal and ethical issues and talk about information security, which, by the way, is a super hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about security and legal issues. And I'll give two examples here. Okay. First of all, on the legal front, all the things that are happening at the Capitol last week, coupled with everything that's going on with respect to laws and freedom of speech and all these other arguments that are being placed out there by armchair lawyers and whatnot, that's very important to understand how that applies to businesses. There are also a lot of privacy law and ethical dilemmas that businesses face. So one of the lectures goes into that. Okay. Then the other lecture talks about information security, which is, again, very important. A few weeks ago, there was a huge security breach involving a state actor, so people in another country, basically. Okay. And so that brought about issues of information security, and it impacted companies globally. Okay. So there's a lot of things that happen there, and a lot of changes are going to happen. I guess a secondary security issue to talk about is, going back to the Capitol terrorist attack last week. Okay, that particular situation compromised every single computing device in the Capitol building. Information security experts are saying, whoa, those probably all have to be replaced. Now, finalizing week 3 at the end of the week, you have your course tool set up, so Teams and Google Cloud. Those need to be completed. If you try to submit it late, it won't let you. You won't get credit after that. But guess what? You still have to do it because you can't do your homework without those tools. So you might as well get the points. Okay? Week 4, we talk about networks, the internet, intranets, extranets, and e-commerce. Okay? That's a lot of fun. We can talk about some of those topics and how they relate to this course, as well as other things that you're going to do later in your career in college. Right? Then we go into cloud infrastructure, and we're going to spend 3 weeks on cloud infrastructure. I know it's a long time, but it's very important because cloud is what enables the post-COVID-19 world to continue operating. Okay? And so our first live session in week 5, second live session, which is in week 5, we're going to do an in-class activity with cloud infrastructure. And ideally, everybody will have their Google Cloud set up and be ready to do that with me, and we'll have a lot of fun doing that. Okay. Then the following week, you're going to continue on doing that, do some supplemental things in career courses related to cloud infrastructure. And again, the following week, you're going to do the same thing. So that'll give you 3 weeks to really work on the homework that's associated with the cloud, as well as any, if you don't finish the in-class assignment, you can work on that as well. Okay. Then we move on to databases. When we start databases, it's an in-person week. Now, you should have noticed already that the date had to be changed. So originally, for some reason, it was scheduled for the week of spring break. Okay. It's now scheduled for March 15th. Okay. We're going to start talking about databases, and we're going to do some in-class activities. A lot of fun. Again, you're actually going to be able to implement a database in the cloud. Okay. Should be a lot of fun, and don't worry, I'll be there to help you. Okay. This is going to prepare you for the database class, which some of you will have to take in the future. Okay. We'll spend 3 weeks on databases, but we have a break for spring break, and then we'll do 2 weeks of databases after that. Databases is a big unit with a lot of material, and I want to make sure you get a lot of practice. Okay. If you were taking 302, we'd only spend 1 or 2 weeks on this. So you're getting a lot more exposure to databases, and it doesn't matter what your major is, you're going to be using databases in your career. If you can walk away with these skills from this class for databases and the cloud infrastructure and slap that onto your resume and talk about your project, you're going to be in a very good position to get those internships that you want. You're going to be in a very good position to get hired after college. All right, the next thing is coming up to week 12, we're going to do information systems development, which is a lot of fun. There's going to be a fun activity for that. And then week 13, we're going to do a live session with intelligent information systems and emerging trends. Personally, this is one of my favorite units. We talk about some emerging technologies. We're going to go through and do some AI-based exercises using cloud providers. And we'll also talk about some of the other emerging trends that are out there. Okay, so it should be a lot of fun for you and for me as well. And then the last 3 weeks of class, we wrap up 14 and 15 doing enterprise systems. There's a really fun game activity where you're actually going to do activities in a real enterprise system that you go and provision out in the cloud. Okay, so that'll be fun, and so you'll be able to do payroll and financials and HR transactions and that sort of thing. Okay, marketing, whatever. And then the last thing here is management support systems and global information systems. So we'll wrap up that unit, which is critical, but not anything that's really tied to our homework assignments and our projects. So we can afford to do that at the end. Your project and all homework are due in week 16. Okay, so they're due on actually May 16th at 11 p.m. Right? No final exam. This schedule could change because I want to be, cognizant of the COVID situation, other events that might occur, and your own learning. So if we're falling behind, we might adjust the schedule accordingly. Okay, but right now that's the current plan. So be sure to review the syllabus, take a look at the career courses, start watching videos if you wish, and then our first class will get started and I'll be available to answer any questions.